Welcome to On Writing with Onkarabile, the show that is aiming to promote reading and writing in our communities. We seek to restore the pride and dignity of Africans through the power of reading and writing. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Mr. Victor Seshoka, who is here today to share more on how he promotes reading and writing in the community. Mr. Seshoka, thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Let's start with knowing who is Victor Seshoka.
Okay, thank you. Victor Seshoka is a writer and author of about 5 books. I'm also Chief Executive Officer of Canon Education Foundation. I'm also Director of Supuluan Investment that also does, it's a subsidiary of Supuluan Publishing that does my work and the work of other writers.
Oh, nice. The Khalalelo, the foundation, please share a little bit about that because I've seen you doing a very great job.
Okay, Canon Education Foundation, it's a foundation that I've started in 2012, having to address the plight of a black child, especially mostly in rural areas, because we realize that rural children, rural learners don't have access to a lot of opportunities vis-a-vis those who are in suburban areas and what we normally term as townships. So I thought, let me bridge the gap between the rural learners and the tertiary institutions, bursaries, companies and stuff. So that's when I decided to start. And also it was also motivated by the fact that in around 2011, a mother lost her life while she was trying to help a daughter register at UJ.
Yes.
And that propelled me to say, why should we have a death? One death is too many. So let me just step up and do something about it. And that's when I founded the Canon Education Foundation, which has been named after my firstborn daughter. And we've been running it for the past 10 years up to date. And our vision is to educate 1 million African children. That is our vision. And so far, we've been doing quite well because we have touched over 25,000 learners to date.
I've seen it. Let's talk about the initiative that you have taken, I think, from last year, where you encourage the issue of, reading 30 books per year, which we can term as sort of a book club, online book club, if I can say. What inspired you to?
What actually inspired me was actually when I was looking at how our Africans are doing in terms of how we converse daily. Our conversation stems from the fact that, you are able to pick it up from a person who reads when you have conversations. We no longer have what we call meaningful conversations because social media have actually taken over a lot of us, a lot of our lives daily. And now I realize that reading is actually been neglected. So I thought, fine, as much as we are on the social space, why can't we utilize the same platform to encourage reading, and especially as an online book club, that I thought if I can encourage people to read at least 30 books per year, it will actually go a long way in encouraging the reading society. And I stumbled upon one information that told me that an average CEO reads about 40 to 60 books per annum. And I thought, if an average CEO read around that kind of books, so it shows the level of investment in terms of knowledge hub. So we need to have what we call knowledge hub as people. And I thought, let me get my friends to come and we start a reading club. That's where I started one. And to date, we think we have around 1,900 members. We have subscribed into reading, even though a lot of them did not read the whole 30 books in a year.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you were one of the people who actually finished your 30.
Yes.
And I did my 31 or 32. And most of the people thrived to strive to finish. But what I've learned around that phenomenon was that the encouraging things that people started. One thing that I love is that people started.
Exactly.
So I can even see now. This year I said, let me take a slow pace and monitor. Then because last year I read at a faster pace, but now I wanted to take a slow pace so that I can be at par with them. When somebody does 4, at least I'm on 6 or 7. I'm not too fast, so that at least they can get encouraged. But when they see the gap is becoming bigger,
become discouraged.
They start thinking, what if me? I'm not in the same league. So, but this year I'm seeing daily people are posting, I'm reading this book and stuff like that. But a lot of people became appreciative of the initiative to say, now we can, we're getting encouraged to read. And we want to take it beyond social media. We want to take it to schools. whereby we can start reading club at schools through another the auspices of the foundation, the education foundation, so that at least we can even pay some of these learners to finish books. We can say to them, there's a token that we can get at the end of the year. If you have finished at least 10 books, 20 books, 30 books, we'll then synchronize them in different aspects to say, fine, if we have got people who finish 30, you can get maybe how much. So some of them we can do school uniform for next year, school bags and stuff, so that we encourage them to read, because a reading nation, I believe, is a leading nation and a winning nation as well.
No, that's very true. So tell me, because when you say this, I see a new way of approaching the book club concept. Do you think maybe is one of the reasons why we no longer see the book clubs nowadays? Because we don't see them nowadays. They were popular back then, but now we don't see the book clubs.
It is because when innovation progresses, or when technology progresses, we need to become innovative. The world is seeking for people who are innovative. I once said one day and said, where is the common place where people are spending their time? And I realized that the loo is the place where people spend most of their time. Why can't we have a situation, but we have books in the loo, where when somebody goes there and they can read, and because sometimes that's most of the time where that 15 minutes or that 10 minutes of a person spending in the loo, they might have read the chapter and they might have actually gained knowledge. Another place is banks. When you go to the bank, one of the things that frustrates a lot of people is to stand in a queue for a long time. The places where people are receiving the grants and stuff like that, those can become places where we can utilize them as promoting book clubs. You go there with books and you go look at, find how many people do I have in this queue? 50. You take out 50 books, you give them an individual book. Said, for you, as much as you are still waiting, wait while reading. So we can be able to encourage in the banks, those queue. We can just build relationship with banks to say, for you to be able to assist these people, make sure that a teller or maybe a consultant come and give them each a book. By the time they get into the teller, at least the person might have grabbed something that is knowledge. So we need to look at those kind of things. How do we then explore and become innovative wherever we are in the malls? Sometimes, especially men don't like waiting for women to do shopping. So why can't we find in the mall a space, a reading space where we can have books and say, men, because we know that you are frustrated by moving from one shop to another. Here is a space. Go and wait for your wife there. So we can have it as an innovative idea to say, let's have such places so that we can encourage reading. And sometimes even changing our billboards in the road, when you can just go there and just put a book and write a synopsis of the book. Maybe people will start having this idea of reading. So I think if we can start having that, and even in our families, it start with our children. Charity begins at home. Pay them for reading. I had an agreement with my daughter to say, I'm going to be paying a certain amount for you finishing a book. And that works well because she's managed to finish some of the books that I've read, she's already read. Why? Because we're encouraging reading. If we can start that is from families, from churches. The reason why we have people who are lacking knowledge is where people are not seeking after it.
No, I think that's mouthful. And I like it, the one of men not to wanting to wait.
Yes.
I love that one because I think, all of us have the same problem.
Yes.
I was surprised one day I met another guy at the mall. I was also at the mall, and this guy was complaining about the same issue of waiting. And we were seeking for solution, but what can be done, And one of my friends said, his solution is that he makes sure that he stand on the line while the wife is busy shopping, But we see that it's not that effective. But I think that one of a book, I think it can be effective because, you're not concentrating on that she's coming. You're just, focusing on finishing the book, And while you are still trying to finish, here she comes. Yes. So I think, it's a good one. I support that one.
Yeah, we need to get initiative to get people reading because, one of the things that will forever suppress the black child or the black nation is our inability to constantly read. And once you begin to read, even our conversations changes, even our association changes, because the more you read, the more informed you become. Then you start having meaningful conversations. But right now, if you can go to any place, be a place or something, the conversations there are not actually building. In most cases, they're actually destroying, but people are spending most of the time there. Yeah. But imagine if we change the narrative, you go to that's the same place, you go to where they love spending time. You introduce books there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you say, guys, come, I've got a Scorpio Sunday. Then you come there, you give each of them a book and say, no, if you finish a book, a bottle of this and that. So I'm telling you, you'll start seeing people now reading because they know when they come to a space, they're going to be encouraged reading, but yet they have what they enjoy.
Yeah.
So sometimes we must just get innovative way of doing things.
No, I like that. And it's very true. When it comes to conversation, it's very true. Even in a taxi,
Yes.
when you listen to people in a taxi talking, they don't talk something that is building. But I believe if you can also introduce books, you talk to taxi drivers,
Yes.
and say, guys, here are books. When people come, you give them books. They read.
Yes.
I like
especially
that.
long taxis, like long distance taxis.
Yeah.
Imagine if you go to Alexander and a person is going to Eastern Cape, is going to Limpopo, is going to KZN, stuff like that. You give them a book. Even bus stations, you give them a book to read on the bus. And sometimes we might maybe start that by donating books as authors.
Yeah.
And you go donate 10, I donate 10, somebody donate 10. Then from there you make sure that bus that goes to Durban, that week we target them and start saying, Greyhound, we want to partner with you. City to City, we want to partner with you. Intercape, we want to partner with you. We don't want anything from you guys, but we want to encourage your passengers to read. We might change one life at a time, but before we know it, we'll have a community of readers.
No, that's very true. I'm so inspired. And I want you to maybe just encourage when it comes to the issue of, do you think this issue of book clubs, whether it's online, whether it's in person, as you have said, innovation in Texas, how is it promoting even the authors, especially local authors?
It will promote local authors. Remember, if we say to these people, like on my online club, I've seen a lot of local authors being promoted there. Yeah. And it encourages other people, who's this one? They want to go buy. And some of the people also read my books and come and profiled my books on my space. Yeah. Somebody who did not know, because we've got people as far as Kenya, we've got other people who are in India. You saw we've got a little group of members who are in different zones of the world, different places. Now, it encourages somebody to say, wow, I've seen the book by Onkarabile, Master Writing. Where is this guy? Immediately then somebody will then get in touch with you. So what it does, these platforms are also encouraging people to want to own books, because as much as some read online books, but now what I've loved about what I've seen most of the people who are in the book club are buying books literally and reading literal books, because reading it on a phone is not the same as reading it live, whereby you underline a statement that you love. Yes. So you underline maybe a sentence that you found appealing to you. You underline that, from there it becomes what your own, it formulates parts of your own vocabulary, because you have now done that. So going forward, it encourages people to buy books. And what I've seen, in my house, just next to my TV, there are my two book stands that are full of books, that majority of the books, actually, if not almost all the books, we've read. So it encourages somebody to go and buy a book. Sometimes when I get to the mall, one of the weaknesses that I have with my wife, that when we get to the mall, if we can just get into exclusive books or any other bookstore, we're not going to come out there without 3, 4, 5, or 6 books. Sometimes I still remember the other day we went, she's here, she can confirm, we bought about, I think, 12 or 15 books. This white man was buying one book. He said, hey, guys, I know I'm going to take more because I see you have, and because with them, there was this phenomenon of thinking that black people don't read. So remember, they used to say, if you want to hide anything from a black man, put it in a book. Right now, put it there, we're going to find it. So it encouraged me on the day to say, if this couple can buy so many books, I'm encouraged to go buy more. But most of the time, if you can just get into the bookshop, I can tell you, 5 to 10 books will come back with them. Because sometimes you go there, you see these interesting books and you want to have them all. So we all make sure that we have, we buy books. So for me, is that if the culture can grow, we're going to have a better society, because people will read in different topics. Yes. They'll start engaging, and with facts this time around, not just from a fallacy point of view.
No, that's very true. So maybe if I will ask you the last question as we wrap up this conversation. What can you encourage the people who are still, I've heard you talking about the innovation, but what can you encourage the people who are still using the traditional way of book clubs where they met, and read and share each other's books? What can you encourage them just to grow what they are doing?
One thing about book clubs is that it's more of fellowship. Because remember, when you meet, you share knowledge, you share skill, you share a lot of things, and you share opportunities and challenges there. So I will encourage them to actually expand their horizon, to make sure that it will be interesting to have each corner of our streets having a book club, one book club per street, or maybe one in a location, one book club, two book clubs there, so that people can get encouraged. And for me, is that we need to also start it from the ground, to encourage. Most of our children are loitering every day. They don't have anything to do, but if you can encourage them to come to a book club, you will start seeing the change in terms of how society is behaving.
That's powerful. Thank you so much, Mr. Seshoka. I wish we can continue more and more, but unfortunately time is not on our side.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching On Writing with Onkarabile, the show that is aiming to promote reading and writing in our communities. Please don't forget to subscribe to Nolu Unlimited Multimedia, and share and like the interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.